rematch is much more lucrative, much more attractive, and also much more warranted. Let's not forget that. And I think, and then that'll be pushed for that. And we know what she's like. She'll want that fight again. She'll want to get, because she's friends with Dezurn, and she'll want to. I know they're good friends. Even though they fought, they are good friends. And she'll want to get one back for her. So I think that the spiciness for that rematch would be even more so.
But for Savannah, she knows exactly what you just said there, that a win could open that door again to that rematch with Claressa Shields, which is the fight that she really, really wants. But that adds a lot of pressure. And Johnny, how many times have we been in this situation when that's been sort of within touching distance, and then you can overlook your opponent? Do you think there's any danger at all that Savannah can?
I don't think Peter Fury will let her think like that. Peter Fury is a coach that has his feet firmly on the ground. He's a real reality checker, so none of that nonsense will go on around Peter, around the gym or anything like that. I think going into this fight, this is her chance, this is her door, this is her opportunity to concentrate on this fight and this fight alone. The Claressa business is somebody else's business. Peter say you fight X, Y, Z next, and that's it. I don't think Savannah even cares about that sort of stuff.
I mean, who could forget the build-up to that Shields-Marshall fight? It got really tasty. I did the press conference. I was stuck in the middle of it. It certainly got a little bit feisty. What do you think will happen today? What do you think it will be like between Crews-Dezurn and Marshall up there?
I think Dezurn will try and get into Marshall's skin early, and I think that's right. I think she should. You've got a woman who's potentially vulnerable, already been beat by her friend. So I think she'll try and get into the skin and say, listen, like, I know you've been beaten now. There's a route. I know I got beaten my first fight, and I've learned from there. You're still fresh from your defeat. You're still hurting, and I think she'll try and rally her and try and and try and really irritate her. Marshall, she can be quite cool, but you can almost feel it burning inside her. So, yeah, I think it'll be quite tasty today.
Both of them getting ready up there on the top table. I mean, Dezurn, I've been outclassed today. The glasses that Franchón is wearing, it looks absolutely incredible. What do you think is going to happen today, Johnny? Do you think we'll see a bit of back and forth? I can just see Savannah. She's sort of eyeing her up a little bit.
So you look straight of all. First of all, you're looking before they got into training camp. The size difference.
Yep.
Dezurn's got to lose some weight. Dezurn's got to get himself into fight condition. So what you see now is not what you're going to see on the 17th of June. So that's number one. Number two, that tells me Savannah lives in the gym. And that's what she'll do. So again, now the opportunity's come, and she's willing to sit back to say, I've been here before. I've danced this dance. I know exactly what to do. I know how this goes. If you give me fire, I'll answer you back. That's what she had to do with Claressa. And the same thing will happen again. She's no longer intimidated by the loud, brash, in-your-face American kind of style attitude. She just thinks, I just want to fight. So say what you want. I'll deal with it and get on with the business.
What do you think, Barry? I mean, I'm just looking at Savannah now. She looks pretty relaxed, fairly composed, but there has been a few sort of side eyes eyeing up Dezurn.
She's looking at the belts.
Yeah.
I think that's what she's looking at, because the Dezurn's spread. There's more belts than chairs out there, to be honest. She's spreading all those belts out there, showing off, and she knows what she's doing. She's rubbing it in the face of Marshall. You had one of these ones. No, you don't anymore, and these are mine. You've got to come and take them. But we'll see what's going to happen. No, it has no bearing on the fight. I think Marshall's quite a cool, calm, collected character by nature. But Dezurn will do everything she can to rattle her. I'm pretty sure. She's quite loud.
Do you think there's a chance that Dezurn could get under Savannah's skin today?
I think yes. I don't think Marshall will show it, but I think once they go backstage, she'll be gritting her teeth and go, well, I can't wait to get stuck into her right away. Isn't that what we want? That's what we want. I think
we love it when they stir the pot. Absolutely.
When they do the head-to-head, the one-on-one, when they do that on their own, I think that's going to be when Marshall can hold it back.
Johnny, what do you think?
I actually think it's going to be pretty cool today.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I think it's going to be pretty cool. And I don't think there's going to be much fireworks. It's just going to be very factual, down to earth, and get on with selling the fight.
Well, I believe we are just about to get underway with the press conference, so let's hand you over to Andy Scott for all the introductions.
Welcome to the Andaz Hotel here in Liverpool Street. The first of two live press conferences here today. This first fight really does speak for itself. A potential show stealer, a fight of genuine quality, which rightly deserves its own stage here today. Great to see so many of the members of the media here. Two brilliant fighters, the ultimate prize in boxing, the undisputed title, a tremendous addition to this card and another marquee fight for boxing. To my right, I'm delighted to welcome to the stage the undisputed super middleweight champion of the world from Baltimore, United States of America, with a record of 8 wins against a single defeat and 1 no contest. She is known as the heavy-hitting diva, Franchón Crews-Dezurn. Welcome to you, and we're delighted that you could be here in person today alongside professional fighter and chief training partner, Crews-Dezurn Jr. Glenn, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Across to my left, someone who needs very little introduction to our UK audience, the former WBO middleweight champion from Hartlepool with a record of 12 wins against a single defeat, the silent assassin, Savannah Marshall, joined, of course, by her long-term trainer, Peter Fury. Great to see both of you as well. First, let's go to promoter Ben Shalom. June 17th, live on Sky Sports Box Office. Another special night of boxing, although I do just have to say, lesson learnt for both of us. We probably should text each other before we sit at the top table. We've borrowed each other's jackets. What a great addition to this card. You must be delighted. I think a few bleary eyes to get it over the line, but you're happy now, presumably.
Yeah, the big fights. This is a big fight, and it took a long time. I want to thank Franchón for coming over here. She's a great champion, and to come over to the UK in the way that she has as an undisputed champion as well. Thank you to her and Peter Khan for everything they did to make this happen. October was a special month. We put on the first ever women's card, a historical sporting event, a historical women's event, and Savannah Marshall was every bit part of that. Sold out the O2. And now probably one of the most recognisable women in sport. She comes off the back of October and she jumps straight into an absolutely huge fight. This is a 50-50 fight. She steps up to super middleweight and she wants to fight the very best. I think that says everything you need to know about Savannah Marshall. Many won't have expected this, many won't have believed it, but this is a true 50-50 fight, a quality fight, and thank you to Savannah, thank you to Mick Hennessy as well for getting this over the line. It's a very, very special fight.
Ben, I'll come back to you later, but let's start with the champion. I mean, first off, we're running out of table space. This is part of being the undisputed champion, all the belts on show. Welcome to the UK. It's a fight that you've welcomed and a fight that you've called for. How do you feel now it's official?
Well, I'm very, very pleased. I first want to thank Sky. I want to thank Boxer, Team Marshall, and for accepting the fight, partnering with me, the Heavy Hitting Diva Promotions, and of course Peter Khan for making it all come together. And I'm just very excited. Marshall, she's a phenomenal fighter. We have long history, and I just want to give her respect for taking another hard fight. You know, she gave a valiant effort in October. But it might not be the same. It's going to be a little worse this time.
Presumably you disagree with promoter Ben Shalom. First thing he said there, it's a 50-50 fight. Is that fair in your eyes, or do you see yourself as a favourite?
I mean, you know, she has a deep amateur pedigree. I always go into the fight planning to win. And, you know, whatever he wants to bet, I'm always going to bet on myself. And I'm not going to lose, so...
You were ringside. I mean, you mentioned that great night in October. You were ringside, and it's not lost on us that you were very quick to communicate a couple of thoughts to Savannah, I think before the decision had even been announced. What can you repeat, if you can repeat it on camera?
No, it wasn't anything bad. I just went up to her, it's like, hey, I'll give you a shot at 168. Let's do it. You know, we've had a bit of banter over the years, and I wanted to fight before. You know, she used to fight at 168, but I don't know how she ducked me. As the longest reigning super middleweight champion in history, I don't know how we missed each other. But timing is everything, and we're here now. June 17th, we'll finally get it on.
Savannah, timing is everything, and I suppose weight category as well is everything. How do you feel now moving up straight away to get a shot at undisputed? Your thoughts now it's signed, sealed and delivered for June 17th?
I'm just really grateful to Hennessy and Boxer and Sky for nailing this fight down. This is a fight I know myself and both Franchón have wanted for a long, long time. She's a very strong, rugged, tough champion, very experienced, and you know, this was one of the fights that I've wanted for a long time. So I'm just glad it's here. I'm glad it's set for the 17th of June. Did
you always have one eye on super middleweight? What difference will the extra few pounds make?
I was always a big middleweight anyway. I think super middleweight's more my natural weight. Franchón's a big super middleweight. So I think it'll be a really exciting fight. We're both big, powerful girls. So yeah, like you said, I think it'll be a show stealer.
The stats don't lie, and I know, records don't mean everything, but the power has been there at middleweight. Do you believe that you can bring it up to super middleweight?
I believe I will, yeah. There's no weight cutting, no being drained for fights, that sort of thing. So I think this weight class will suit me a lot better.
I know how dearly you wanted the fight in Newcastle, but if there is a venue that really does generate a hostile atmosphere and you know that will get behind you, it is the AO Manchester Arena off the back of October. And I know the result didn't go your way, but it was such a historical night, and the atmosphere and everything that came after it. How do you think it will feel at the top of the ramp walking back out into a similar sort of atmosphere?
Oh, I'm not bothered where the fight is. I'm just glad that we've got a date, we've got a venue, and it's on. And another reason for me, wanting a dance with Franchón, how can I go after losing my world title? How can I go back down to 8 rounds when fans have supported me all over the country, people from Hartlepool, the North East, travelling all the way down to London? How then can I jump into an 8-rounder and want to build myself again? I believe I'm at world level, and these are the sort of fights that I want.
At the same time, did you have any reservations? I mean, talk about out of the frying pan into the fire, a massive fight against Claressa Shields that didn't go your way, but you're straight into an undisputed title fight. People probably would have forgiven you for a comeback fight or a slightly easier route.
No, not at all. I'm coming up 32 now, and I've been boxing for 21 years. So if I'm not ready now, I'm never going to be. Time's of the essence, and time doesn't wait for anyone. And like I said, I believe I'm at world level, and if I can't mix it with the likes of Franchón, then am I in boxing?
Are you confident that you win?
I am very confident that I win. I'm not underestimating Franchón. Like I said, she's a tough, rugged, very experienced fighter, but I believe I beat her.
Let's bring in the wider training teams. Glenn, I spoke to you upstairs and you said every step of the way I've been there, I know her better than anybody. How do you think Franchón will react on that night in a big defence in sort of hostile enemy territory?
One thing about Franchón, she's not only a great fighter, she shows consistency, but she's a performer. Whatever level that you throw at her, she has the gift to rise above any level that you throw at her. I actually love to see her in big fights that push her to the brink, because she always shows something different. And all I know is going to be a spectacular night, and we keeping these belts.
You experienced that atmosphere. I don't want to keep going on about it, but how do you think you will react with the crowd probably against you? I think UK fans, we respect very good fighters, of which you are one. At the same time, I'm not going to lie, you're probably going to get booed to the ring. How do you think you will react to that?
This isn't my first rodeo. I fought on Mexican Independence Day against a Mexican, and they hated my guts. But at the end, they love me, and I believe the same will be for the UK fans. They'll respect my passion. They'll see that I'm not only fighting against Savannah. That's easy work. That's fun for me. But I'm fighting for women's boxing. Once again, thank you to Boxer for even partnering with me to give me an opportunity to help motivate other females, because, we fight against so many inequalities as far as pay, promotion, being visible, and just to be a part of this event with a very accomplished fighter like Marshall, it is bigger than me, and I just can't wait to perform and just leave my mark.
Yeah, brilliant words. We're very happy to have this fight on Sky Sports. I just want to pick up on what Glenn said there. He's probably underselling you just by saying you're a performer. I mean, that doesn't even begin to cover it, does it? Not everyone will know your story. Entrepreneur, fashion label, yes. Singer, promoter of the show.
Yes.
Am I missing anything out?
I do it all. I do it exceptionally well. I mean, Savannah didn't know. I was there when you fought in Claressa, not on the outside of the ring. I made her outfit, so I was there in spirit. You just have to be all you can be, because life is short. You get one moment, and this fight, coming over here to the UK, risking my life's work to build legacy and create more history, I'm just going to live it to the fullest.
In regards to the fight, do you believe that Savannah will bring power up from middleweight. Do you believe that she was a big puncher at middleweight?
I mean, Savannah, she can fight. She's strong, big, strong girl. This isn't our first time. We fought over 10 years ago when I came to London at a test event. You know, she got the decision, but I don't feel it was the right decision. And, you know, June 17th, I have an opportunity to redeem myself for it, and she'll have an opportunity to prove herself if she can stay at a world-class level. But if she thinks it's going to be a walkover over me to get to Clarissa or wherever else she thinks is she's going to go, she's going to have a very long night.
What would your response to that be? I mean, here we are again talking about amateur rivalries and a fight that was at the Olympic test event, like Franchón said, but it did go your way. What were your recollections of that fight? I'm sure you'll be clear to say you're both very different fighters and better fighters now, but you did get the W.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think that amateur win has the same bite as my last one, so I'm not really going to hold on to that one. But yeah, a long time ago, both different fighters, both a lot older, more mature. Our styles have changed to suit the pros. So look, I'm no mug. I'm not overlooking her. I know she's a tough fight. I've seen her fight plenty of times. It's going to be a hard night's work.
Let me bring in Peter Fury. Peter, great to see you up here. What's your take on this fight? Did you have your, I'm sure you did, I know you did, your opinion on where Savannah's career was going to go after the Shields fight, and did you welcome the step up in weight and straight into undisputed?
Yeah, you know, boxing's hard in politics, and I'm just very happy to get this fight. We wanted Clarissa, but that didn't happen for whatever reason. But, you know, Franchón's a great fighter, you know, and Savannah definitely does not think this is going to be a walk in the park. You know, because she is a good fighter. You know, all them belts are not sat over there for nothing. So it's, I see it being a great fight, this, and the type of styles as well. The no-nonsense two fighters. I think a super middleweight suits Savannah better because she's more comfortable at that weight. You know, so I see it as what I'm very pleased about is, one, that Franchón's come over here as a unified world champion. She needs maximum credit. And the second thing is, for women's boxing, it's on a real another level because we've got hang on a minute, I don't want to fight you. I might get more money next time. Or I don't want to do this, don't want to do that. You know, boxing, a lot of it is, you know, it's all about how popular you are, you can speak. We've got fighters here. Savannah's fought the best in the world. She put a front foot forward and done the best she could. This is another 50-50 fight. And these are the fights we want to see for boxing as a whole, not just in women. But the women seem to be leading the way more than the men. So this is the fight we want to see. This is a real fight, and these are the fights we want to see. I'm a boxing fan as well as being involved in it. And we want to see good fights. Win, lose, or draw. It's not the end if you lose. All the greats over the past have lost. The only ones that don't lose is if they've had lucky decisions or they've had a right result or they've had a home crowd behind them or promoter knows somebody. At the end of the day, everybody gets wet sooner or later. It's how you come back from defeat, not about the loss. It's what you do when everybody says, you're finished, you're crap, you're this, you're that. How do you take it? You know, there's not a smooth ride in life. And boxing, who can say you're going to definitely beat the other one when you're in 50-50 fights? Let's see on the night, because when you make a mistake, you get found out. This is boxing. But at least we're seeing good fights in women's boxing, and this is a prime example of that.
And do you just mind, and we're not here to talk about the past, but your reflections on the Clarissa Shields fight? I know you two have spoken publicly and individually, and you were put under the bus, weren't you, Peter? I think that you both addressed that in interviews.
Yeah, anyway, it must have been a light bus.
Is it fair to say that you believe that Savannah can be better, that we still haven't seen the full article, the finished article?
100%. You know, look, the better woman won on the night. I'm not here to make excuses, because that's a mug's game. She had a good training camp. Clarissa won. She was a better fighter on the night. Is there more improvements to be made? Yes. Are we going to see better improvements? You know, look, you only see your weaknesses when you push to the max. So Clarissa brought out some of them weaknesses, which we've been in the gym and we've been correcting on them. So yes, there's going to be improvements, and yes, there's more to come from Savannah Marshall, 100%, and you'll see that on the 17th of June.
From your part, Ben, did you have any reservations? I mean, I touched on it earlier there. You know, nobody would have really batted an eyelid if Savannah did come back in a very much a fight that was stacked in her favour, and you started the route back towards Claressa Shields' fight. This one perhaps caught people a little bit by surprise.
Yeah, I think that says everything you need to know about Savannah. As you say, as Peter says, in boxing, usually a first defeat of a career, especially a defeat on that scale, in that sort of fight, you usually see a fighter go and take 1, 2, 3 fights. Savannah wanted the rematch straight away. She knew what went wrong in that fight. She wanted to get straight back in the ring with Claressa Shields. We couldn't make that happen straight away. And what does she say? I'm going up in weight. I'm going to 168 and I'm going to take on the best. I think that says everything you need to know about where Savannah Marshall is at, how she's feeling and what she wants to do in this sport still. And it's to have the best, the biggest fights, and to prove herself over and over again. Franchón Crews deserves a lot of credit as well. She's coming over here as an undisputed champion, and that's what we want to see in boxing. As Peter said, as a boxing fan, this is a hell of a fight, and I can't wait.
We'll get the final predictions from both fighters. I'll go to the challenger first. Savannah, will you give us a prediction?
Savannah Marshall win, 2-time world champion and the new.
And Franchón,
can I say one thing? I know you guys on the time. Let me say something. See, this is a difference. I'm going to tell you the difference right here, right now, between me and Savannah. The fact that you think you get dog walk your last fight and think you get another shot, to have that inclination, I never had that luxury. So you fighting and you keep thinking you gonna walk over me and you're gonna act like this isn't happening right here, it's gonna be a long night for you. That's all I could tell you. We fight for two different things. Because for me, even when I win, I lose. When you lose, you get babysat. You get pushed. Oh, I get another opportunity. I want the rematch. Nah, like this title, like the posters say, all or nothing. You ain't got nothing. I got it all, and I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it. See, we talked on Twitter. We said these things. You don't even have your sidekick April here. I wanted to meet her too. You know that. But we here right now. And I'm telling you, June 17th is going to be very fun for me. So I hope.
Very fun for me.
Because you got a great trainer in Peter, but it's some things in boxing you can't teach. And the things you can't teach, that's what I have.
Would you be confident enough to say that you win this fight by stoppage, or does that not matter? The method of victory is irrelevant. Winning is all that matters.
We don't train for stoppages. We train to punish you. We train to go to war. Where we come from, it's war every day. We in the war mindset. We train, we come, we conquer. That's what we train for.
Period.
Okay, well, I think that sums it up perfectly. I think we're going to pose for head-to-heads now. Just be wary, people at the front. We are live streaming, cameras at the back, so if everyone can stay in their seats, but stay with us. We've got one more press conference to come, but for now, let's pose for head-to-heads. Franchón, do you want to take the belt? You hold it.
Are we believing those smiles, Johnny?
Wow, very impressive. I think it was a definite, certain speech by Dezurn when she took through our last statement to say, look, you know, this is a completely different setup here. These belong to me. She didn't have to threaten. She didn't have to brag. She didn't have to boast. But she did say, look, you're coming in to fight me for this one. And remember, she's in heels there. So she's actually the shorter fighter of the two. But as you say, they're familiar with each other. So we'll see how this one rolls.
Familiar with each other, but that was a long time ago now, Barry. It's sort of 2012. You can't really read too much into that, but it is still a rivalry that is there.
Well, especially when you've lost, it digs in your claw. Like you always get the chance to beat someone who beat you, especially if you think it was close and you could get that, it could have been your win. Then you're going to want to fight again. You're going to revenge. And she did well there, Dezurn, because she kept it quiet, kept it respectful right to the very end, but she had to dig it. She had to have a little dig there to Savannah Marshall, and it got a bit spicy at the very end.
Well, for the most part, Johnny, the press conference was pretty respectful, wasn't it? It was just right at the end there that Franchón just sort of stirred the pot a bit, which is what we thought would happen.
Yeah, but and I actually, how she actually was just very assertive. She just said, look, this is how it's going to be. Yes, to stir the pot. She's showing she's comfortable here, being in the Lion's Den, to fight Savannah after she saw what happened last time. She saw the hullabaloo, she saw the action, the attention the fight got with Savannah and Clarissa. She wants some of that action. And she comes over with the belt. So this is my jewelry. It's not a giveaway.
It was as if Franchón was just reminding Savannah, wasn't she? Just reminding her, saying, I'm here, I'm ready, don't overlook me, I've got the belts.
Well, she's well aware that we're all here for Savannah Marshall, of course, aren't we? But she's also saying, you might be here, it might be your home city, your home country, you're here for her, but I'm the champion. I'm the one you've got to come and take it off. I'm the A-side. That's what she'll think. And she said, oh, there you go.
That was stylishly done. Franchón, really good to see you. The array of belts you brought alongside us. I was just saying to Johnny, up until that sort of last moment of the press conference, it's fairly respectful. It was quite a nice press conference, and then you were just sort of reminding Savannah of what you've got there.
Yeah, I mean, we went pro around the same. And in the amateur, she's a two-time Olympian. I've always been on the outside because Clarissa, was the U.S. super middleweight, middleweight Olympian. But I've always been there, and as pros, we both had similar careers, but I've been consistent. I got here. She started at super middleweight, and I don't know how we missed each other, so now we're here.
What kind of fight are you expecting on June the 17th?
I'm a Gemini, so I have multiple personalities. So whichever Franchón or whichever heavy-hitting diva shows up, that's what we're going to have. But it's going to be a smart fight. It's going to be entertaining, and the people are going to love it.
We spoke about it up there. Andy mentioned to you about you're walking into the Lion's Den. You're coming into essentially it's kind of Savannah's backyard, being in Manchester. But as you said, it's not your first rodeo. Is that going to bother you at all? Or are you going to feed off the crowd maybe?
No, listen, I have no problem going in hell and making heaven. And pressure makes diamond. That's why I'm shining. You see these 5 belts. That's all the pressure I've been through. So it's not anything abnormal for me.
Very confident, Johnny. You like it?
I do like it. I was married to a Gemini once, so I know exactly what she's talking about. So
I think we just stop at the end of that story.
Yeah. It's the thing is, that haven't been done already. I've made history. I became a world champion. Right now it's about legacy. And you don't continue to grow a healthy legacy unless you take risks, unless you dare to be great. So for me, of course, to make money, but to build my legacy so when I do hang it up, it'll be some big shoes to fill. You
watched the Shields Marshall fight.
Yes.
What did you make of Savannah?
It was good. I mean, she did what she had to do. I could tell she was in great condition. If Clarissa wasn't Clarissa, it could have been a different night. Savannah carried her power through the end of the rounds. And, she did her best. She did her best. She's going to have to come a little harder for me, but she did her best.
Where do you see her weaknesses? Sorry, Barry, you can chip in after this. Where do you see Savannah's weaknesses?
She knows that. I don't care. I just train to be the best I can be. I have the best coaching staff in the world. Headbangers, Barry, Boog, Jamie, Juice. My husband's my chief training partner. I have a lot of brains that could think for me. All I'm worrying about is being the best Franchón I can be and be in the best condition and just bring the best fight I could bring.
That was a very diplomatic answer. I like it. Navigated that well. Sorry, Barry, carry on.
So obviously you boxed on that massive card, Katie Taylor with Serrano in New York, but the crowd was amazing. Do you think that's going to help you prepare you for this crowd?
Yeah, I fought in world tournaments, and I don't want to keep parlaying on my amateur experience, but I've went into hostile territory all the time. Long as they don't throw anything at me, please, Manchester, don't throw anything at me. They're going to enjoy the show. Win, lose, or draw, they're going to enjoy the show.
Do you think the style Savannah boxed Clarissa would work on you, or does it have to be something different?
If she comes at me like that, it's going to be a long night for her. She, it's always good when you can land power punches, but can you take them? And you know my history. I had to fight against a steroid cheat for 10 rounds, and I got a split decision, which I actually won on the numbers. But, I mean, I'm willing to go as far as I have to go.
You're not expecting that, though. You're expecting Marshall to box you long, aren't you, surely?
We could do whatever. We could do whatever. I can box, bang, whatever we got to do.
So you're just training for you?
Yes.
That's it. Okay.
Yes, that's how
it.
I got this far, just doing what I do. So.
Franchón is not giving much away at all. You said up there that you're not thinking about the knockout. As you just said, you're just training for you. Is really that's not in your mind. And what about making a statement? Do you want to show the world what you can do here in the UK?
I mean, every time I step out, I make a statement. You see my gear. You see how I look. You see it's always a vibe. But I mean, you know, I'm proven. That's the good thing. That's what I can walk away with. I'm proven. I'm an undisputed champion. But of course, every time I go into the ring, I plan to dominate, and that's what I plan to do June 17th.
I am absolutely eyeing up your glasses. They are way better than mine. I'm very jealous.
Yours are fly too.
How do you fit it all in then? Because as Andy said there, you've got the Instagram thing, the fashion thing, the music, everything going on. How do you...
I'm an artist, I'm a creative, and that keeps my brain flowing. Boxing is poetry in motion. I have an unorthodox style, so that's just me expressing myself, and all I can be is myself, so whatever I feel like doing, I just do it.
Absolutely love it. We're going to be seeing a lot more of you over the coming weeks.
Yes.
Best of luck, and thanks for popping down to see us today.
Thank you, guys. Shout out to UK, USA, guys. Thank you.
Great to see you. Should we help you down? Yeah. That's not easy, navigating that in stilettos. You get down there, she did that well.
In heels.
Well, they say a happy fighter's a dangerous fighter, and she's sure happy.
Very happy, very chilled, not giving away. Is that what you kind of expected?
At this stage, this far out from a fight, yes. Let's see if the persona changes, the attitude changes when you've got to get down to it, when you're training, when you're obsessed then with your opponent, because as this is that being announced, now things are going to be said, now things they're going to get paranoid about each other. Now they've got to start making weight, getting into hard training camp. So that's all we've seen nice, so we can see nasty on both fighters.
It becomes real now, doesn't it?
It becomes real, and so that's where it's just a good gauge to have. Just see where we'll be in a few weeks' time. Let's see if we have this conversation after the next time we interview.
That's going to be a thing. Fight week could be a very, very different story, couldn't it? How do you think Savannah was up there at the press conference?
Yeah, well, Savannah, I don't think she's really an outspoken person anyway. So she takes sort of things in her stride. And she's not one to really... She'll defend herself, no verbally or physically. And we know that. But I don't think she invites that sort of... She don't think she invites that sort of environment. No, well, she'll tell us herself. She's here.
Guess what we're talking about? You could see it, Savannah. We're just saying, how do you feel that went for you up there?
It was quite respectful. I felt like she was trying to get some little bit of a bite out of me. But, do you know, how can you sit there and say it's not going to be easy when I've just said to you, it's a tough night for me. I've not been listening to what I've been saying, but look, I think she's trying to shape me up a bit, but no, very respectful. I know what I'm letting myself in for, and I know she does.
We've all been talking about it because you are very much jumping back into the fire straight away. How big a challenge do you think you have in front of you, and what was the thinking behind that, getting straight back into it?
For me, like I said there, why would I go and try and build myself up, build confidence, an 8-rounder, another 10-rounder? There's not many girls at this weight, and like I said there, even for the fans, how can I expect people who've followed me all around the country to then come and pay their money to watch me in an 8-rounder where I'm probably 100% going to get the win? So these are the type of fights I've won. I've been boxing 20 odd years now, so I know there isn't much more time for me to learn and grow. I'd rather just jump straight back in.
How much do you think you've learned from the Clarissa fight?
Took the question out of my mouth, Tommy.
Sorry.
For me, looking back, just how much I've grown. To be able to box in front of 20,000 people, to even, it was left down to me and her to sell the fight. Even the build-up was very intense. The backwards and 2 and 4, backwards and forwards, like this one. I didn't really have to say anything because it's down to Eubank and
I can remember coming in the dressing room afterwards and saying to you and saying to Peter, you've actually got a lot more boxing and boxed well within yourself in that. Do you believe that? Do you believe you had more to... There was more to give, more to learn after that fight with Clarissa for this one?
100%. I think for me it was a massive learning curve of, look, the tactics have to be spot on, the tactics have to be right, and look, people get things wrong. We're all human, and look, I can only take away you know, like I said there, boxing in front of 20,000 people. It was the best Clarissa, you know, I think we've all ever seen, and not taking anything away from her. I knew it would be a hard fight, but she was tough. She was a lot tougher than what I thought she would be.
Do you feel you have to change tactics in this fight? Because you've got it's a totally different opponent, so you're going to be as aggressive, or you're going to learn to box more, or not learn, or box more?
She's very aggressive, very tough, very rugged. She can be dirty. She'll punch you in the back of the head. She'll throw you on the floor. So yeah, I've definitely got to box to my strengths.
I asked Franchón the question, and she didn't really give much away at all, really, keeping her cards very much close to her chest. Where do you see the weaknesses in Franchón, though?
I believe she doesn't do the fundamentals very well, but this is what goes in her favour. What she's perfected, what she does, and she's made it work for her. Like I said, she's tough, she's rugged, she's quite dirty, and I think, you know, that she uses that to her advantage.
I'm getting the impression from what you said about how much you learned from Clarissa that it was more of a mental thing that you learned from the stuff outside of the ring more so than inside. That's the
100%.
case, yeah.
I was a girl who couldn't even, you know, box in a social club in front of 50 friends and family, and I headlined the O2 in front of 20. So for me, that was. I look back and think, wow, look how much far I've come.
Well, you've been part of the journey, Johnny. You've part of the Sky Scholar journey as well, and seen how much Savannah has grown.
I think that badge is being worn, and you've rinsed it out. I think she's she totally a full-fledged fighter now, and I think you probably learnt more from that last fight than you did in all your career. And usually what happens is when fighters fight for a world title and they give it their all, it's hard to motivate themselves to get back in there again, because you think, what else can I give? Whereas what Savannah's saying is, I've got a lot more to give, and actually I learned a lot more from that fight about myself and what I've got and what I'm capable of doing than I would have ever believed. So in a way, even though she lost, she actually won a lot.
Was there a frustration after the Shields fight? Because for the first time in your life, you never got it right?
100%. I went through every emotion going. It was everyone's fault apart from my own, that type of thing. But yeah, time's a great healer. And look, I can't take anything away from her. She was brilliant on the night. Like I said, a lot tougher, and she's definitely, you know, she's got a right to call herself the best in the world.
You're part of a massive night again in June, on June the 17th. How excited are you to be part of that? Finally, before we let you go, what are we going to see?
I'm really excited. I'm just glad that this fight's been announced now, so it's not going anywhere. Because I was, you know, it was up in the air what bill I was boxing on, if it was going to be August, if it was going to be the week before. So I'm just glad it's set in stone, it's there now. And look, I want to be world champion again. That was the goal, and it's still the goal. Didn't get another crack at Clarissa, but this is the next best thing for me.
And do you believe if you come through Franchón on June the 17th that door will be open for a rematch with Clarissa? Could we see that, do you think?
Could be. Look, never say never. It's at a whole new different weight class, so I know there's mandatories and things there, so that's something I've got to look at after, but at the minute I need to get Franchón out the way.
Best of luck. We're going to be seeing again a lot more of you as the weeks go on, but good luck for the rest of the camp.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you. See you soon.
Where are you going?
Oh, you're done. He's off. It's just me and thee now, Johnny. It's interesting, isn't it, what Savannah was just saying there about how much she learned from even just headlining a show like that, you know, back in October. Massive night for women's boxing and a massive boxing show in general. But it is interesting what she said, how much she learned from that, more so probably outside the ring than in.
So it's good that she what she's learned. It's good that she acknowledges the differences between yesteryear and today. That's maturity. Show how she's conducted herself today. And from a bigger picture, she knows what it's going to be a different fight. She knows that a different weight's going to make a massive difference to her as a fighter. But I do seriously remember going in, I said, and I don't know if, I think Peter got it. I think she got it. I think anybody else did. I said, you box well within yourself there, which meant you've got so much more to give. So don't think I've given it my all and I can't do it. It's not like an AJ against Usyk 2 and he's thinking, what else can I do? She had so much more to give, and so coming into this, it's thinking, I know what I've got to do here.
But even for a fighter, and I don't know if you can relate to this, what she said there about going through all of the emotions after such a big loss like that in her career. Exactly what I was going to say. How much do you learn from that? And in a way, could that be a positive, do you think, going down the rest of the
If she came out of that and thought, oh, well, that's how it is, then she might as well jack in. She needs to be upset with herself. She needs to blame everybody else and then realise it's down to me, it's my fault. She needs to then recognise what she could have done, because if you don't learn from your loss, there's no point in carrying on. And yes, she said, I don't want to be in like little late rounders, I'm hungry, you know, I want to stay. So she's still hungry as a fighter, and so every experience she dreaded coming through the amateurs that happened to her, she's done them. She's done, well, is that it? I boxed in front of 20,000 people. I used to be scared to fight in front of the social club and around my friends and family. She gets it now. She's grown up.
Yeah.
And so,
which is all part of the fight game, isn't it?
And listen, I won my world title on my third title attempt, you know, and then kept it forever and a day. So losing such a big fight against Clarissa, she's not thinking that's me done, I'm out of there. It's just made her more hungry. And that's what I like.
I'm very much looking forward to that fight, as is Johnny, and it is, as they said up there on the top table, it could be a fight that steals the show, but we are now going to move on and talk about Smith versus Eubank 2. Will it be repeat? Will it be revenge? I think we're very much intrigued on how they both will be with each other. You know, there's been time that's passed. It'll be interesting to see how they both react.
What is going to be interesting is this. Liam Smith will be Liam Smith, the same Liam Smith before. Chris called him boring. And he'll be happy to be boring. Yeah, I like that. I like being called boring. I want to see what Chris is going to say. I want to see where Chris is, because they'll ask him uncomfortable questions. Or Liam might give him mercy and not ask the question that'll put him on the spot and wait till he gets close to the fight. But now this fight's been signed, sealed and ready to be delivered, now how you handle yourself from a defeat, and I mean a devastating defeat, says so much about an individual.
Yeah, for Chris Eubank Jr, just how much is on the line? I mean, his career basically could be at stake in this fight.
Yeah, without a doubt, and I'm sure he said the last fight, if I lose, I jack in. And I'm quite clear. Liam will say that again to him today. Like you said, you jack in. So we might get a repeat of that. And if he does lose, you know, he doesn't have to jack in because he's still sellable. There's still fights out there for him. But I think that might be another statement that he stamps on today. Well, if I lose this one, I'm out of there. I think Liam's his only option for what he wants, you know, and so that's why he's in that position.
What do you think he'll do differently going into this fight? Because, you know, before on the scales, Chris Eubank Jr, he looked a little bit drained, didn't he, at the weight last time? But he had essentially, he just wants to come back.
I wish you could go through your legs.
Come on. How
You're
much?
back. No, I was going to say, just picking up. I don't know where you just went to then, but nice to see you again. Chris Eubank Jr essentially had like a 16-week camp, but he wasn't sure whether the Ben fight was going to happen or not, and then everything happened with that. But do you think he'll approach things differently this time around?
I don't know what he can do.
Okay.
I've seen every side shape, inside and outside. I don't know what he can do. So he's got to approach it some way different. But I can't even hazard a guess. And I've experienced everything in boxing. Well, what can he do? But Chris, in regards to his approach to this one, if everything went right the last time,
I think you have to try Liam Smith back, which is a very difficult thing to do. But you have to. I can't see sitting on the back on the rope again. Eubank used to be a volume puncher, and when he was doing that early in his career, he looked electric. But we were all saying if he would just reduce the output, there'd be more power in those shots, and how good would he be? Now he's reduced the output. We're all saying, where's all those punches? Where are they gone? You're waiting too long for your attacks. And I think the fact that he waits, he's looking to, which should be the right thing to do. But that's just not in his makeup, and I feel the longer the gaps are between the combinations and the punches he throws, the more chance someone like a pressure fighter like Liam Smith can get closer to the target. And when you've got a guy who's shorter than you, and he's punching coming up, it's going to make this a difficult night.
You were spot on. Liam Smith throws punches when he wants to throw punches. He's not putting the pressure to throw punches. Where Chris is not experienced enough to be able to throw punches when he wants to throw punches, because Liam is too smart to put him under pressure, to make him throw a shot, to leave his guard open, to leave a gap to get picked, and that's exactly what happened.
It's having the fast hands and the fast feet, and he has that, Eubank Jr. But you know, just going in and out in straight lines or just throwing fast hands for the sake of it's not going to work. You've got to throw your punches, take a step back. Liam's just going to follow you. So it's all about angles. You've got to pivot on that front foot. You've got to give him gaps, you know, to run at you and then make him miss and then make him pay with volume.
Last time out, it was pretty much a 50-50, but it's fair to say that Chris Eubank Jr., he was the slight favourite. I think when Liam won, it was one of those situations where people still thought he could win, but they were still slightly surprised, weren't they, in the manner in which he did so. What do you think Liam's approach will be going into this one this time?
Liam is literally, he has the same approach for every fight. I think Liam is almost, I don't want to say psychotic, it's such a strange thing to say, but he's like dead-eyed. Any opponent,
focused.
Any opponent to him is the same. He wants to go right through you. We know what he wants to do.
And the rumour is that of all the brothers, he's the most spiteful out of a lot of them.
No, and it's not even the rumour. I sat down with him and then chatted to him in Off Limits, and he very much owns that he's kind of known as a bit of the angry one.
But he's controlled with it, though. Let's not forget that. He's controlled.
Makes it more dangerous.
Of course it does, because there's a plan to his violence. That's what it is. It's a plan to his violence. And people, because he's a come-forward fighter, people forget how technically good he is. He shifts the head coming forward. You know, he feints with the front foot. He does a lot of really good things.
What do you think will happen, Johnny? What kind of fight do you think we'll have this time around?
I think exactly the same. I think this fight probably goes a little bit longer than the last one. I think whatever Chris has gone back to the drawing board with, it's not his go-to. It's not his instinctive. His instinctive is to try and stand to have a tear up. And Liam's ready for every outcome. Chris tried to outbox him before. Worst thing he could do. Now Chris is thinking, right, I've got to throw everything at him, kitchen sink, see if I can catch him. Liam's prepared for that. So I don't know. I have absolutely no idea how Chris can change this. All I think is the fight might go 1 or 2 rounds longer than the last one did.
You almost touched on it. It's an interesting thing. When you've got a man like Liam Smith who knows who he is, he knows what he's about, he knows exactly what he's going to do, whoever he's up against, it works or it doesn't work. I think with Chris, what he naturally wants to do, but what he's being told to do, what he's trying to learn off the great Roy Jones Jr., that means you're not quite sure, you're in two minds, and that's a problem, because you're up against a guy who knows exactly what he wants to do, and you're not quite sure.
We know there's a lot riding on the line again for both of them. Obviously Liam won the last time out, but he has aspirations to become a 2-weight world champion, so he knows a win in this could open doors and could move it on to the next level. As for Chris, like we've said, could be sort of, his career's essentially on the line in this one.
The frustration for Liam is the fact that he seems to be the one that's been waiting for Chris when he won.
Yeah.
And so that's just adds to the frustration.
Okay, right, well, they're all ready to go. Andy's ready to go. So let's get to it.
Fighters. Liam Smith and Chris Eubank Jr. will run it back. Same venue, AO Arena, Manchester, live on Sky Sports box office, after the pair met just 4 months ago in January. Now this time, it's Smith versus Eubank, not the other way around. The bragging rights firmly with the man on my right. It was a fight that captivated the British public with a spiteful and controversial build-up. Both men believed and predicted that they would win inside the distance. What transpired in one of the best cauldron-like atmospheres we've had on Sky Sports shocked almost everybody outside of Liam Smith and his closest supporters. The immovable object, the Eubank chin, which has been tested before and never failed, was breached in a dramatic and explosive 4th round. Chris said his career was in dire straits if he lost. Liam said the same. Now, so many questions. I'm sure all of you have got many. So let's get straight to the fighters. Will it be repeat or will it be revenge? Liam Smith, you get the chance to go first this time, the A side, after winning in such dramatic fashion. Now, I wonder actually if all this talk of how dramatic it was, how surprising it was, if you feel a little bit disrespected that maybe nobody listened to you because you did say in the build-up exactly what would happen.
Yeah, obviously, it was more of a lesson learned for media people. Being told basically fight week, it was like, you might as well not have threw a headshot at Chris because he's got a great chin. That's what was made out. It was like, it was pointless throwing at Chris's head because he can't be hurt. So it makes it more just show a lesson learned for the media never judge it like that. Chris has got a good chin. There's been better fighters with better chins than Chris Eubank Jr. get knocked out, and obviously it happened to him. It all happened to him on one night. Everything he thought he couldn't happen to him. Everything Chris prides himself on happened to him on one night. He got buzzed. We sat at the gloves are off. He said he's never so much as being buzzed. Never touched down. All them things happened to him on one night, and I done it to him. So yeah, it was a good night for me.
As you stood under those bright lights in January, though, at the end of the fight, did you believe that we'd be back here, that we'd be doing the rematch, that Chris would take it?
I know he tried everything to make the Conor Benn fight, but to save face, he had to take this rematch. If he wants to go any further in his career, he has to take this rematch. And he's got a big thing. He's got a big thing to deal with in front of him now, because he's got a lot of demons to come over.
I mean, that was my next question. Do you believe that he can, or is capable of making necessary adjustments, and do you have to do anything different?
No, I don't believe he does. I believe it's the same outcome. I believe it's a Liam Smith win. And again, I know I can hurt him both ways now, so I believe it's the same outcome.
You believe you win it inside the distance?
Yes, I do.
Just incidentally, how did it rank? I mean, you've been there, seen there, done it, got the T-shirt, boxed all around the world, won everything, including a world championship. But to do it in an atmosphere like that, with the pressure that was on you, even if you say, there was no pressure on me, but to do it in that sort of atmosphere, I wonder where that ranks.
Yeah, like I said after it, look, I'm not gonna kid you, it ranked right up there. Just everything into consideration. The night itself was, you were there yourself, it was a special atmosphere for myself. To beat Chris the way I beat him, to do what I was told I couldn't do, and to justify everything I said in the build-up was a special night, and it ranks right up there.
What are your feelings towards Chris now?
The same as it was before the fight last time. He's an opponent now, and I'm 100% confident I'll beat him again.
Chris, welcome. A fairly straightforward question. How do you process defeat?
How do I process defeat? I'm a good sport. I've lost before, and it's part of the game. Unless you're Floyd Mayweather, everybody has to go through it. I told Ryan Garcia after his fight a few days ago, it's not about how great you look when you're winning. It's about how you hold yourself when you lose. And it's about how strong you can come back. A lot of guys can't come back after a loss, after a big loss, It breaks them, it breaks their spirit, it breaks their confidence, it breaks their rhythm. For me, it just makes me more determined to improve, to figure out why things went wrong and to fix those mistakes. And that's exactly what's going to happen in the rematch.
Forgive me for dwelling on it, though, but you are coming back from something that's never happened to you before. There's nothing to compare it to. To my knowledge, I think you've never been dropped. I think you said never even inspiring. Have you been hurt to that extent?
Oh, I've been hurt. Of course I've been hurt. I've been buzzed. I've never been dropped, never been on the canvas. So yeah, it was a new experience. I enjoyed it. It was something new. Imagine, you've been in a sport your entire career and something new happens to you. It's exciting. The thing I regret is not being able to, or not being given the chance to kind of get through it. As you guys saw, I wanted to continue. I wanted to see if I could overcome that adversity. And I feel like I was robbed of that challenge. This is what we sign up for. We sign up to get hurt. We sign up for that, for the possibility of receiving punishment. So yeah, it didn't really sit well with me that I wasn't given every opportunity to recover. If a beating was what I was going to take, if the fight had been let to go longer, then great. That's what I deserved. I would have accepted that. I would have enjoyed that, you know. But I think every fighter, especially if they're demanding to continue, should be given the opportunity. You know, I'm a grizzled veteran in the sport. I know how much I can take. I know when, you know, I can't go on. I was buzzed, but I knew what was going on. You know, obviously when the referee stopped the fight, I knew the decision had been made. I knew I wasn't going to be able to overturn it. But in my mind, I was like, okay, the fight's done, but I still need to make sure that Liam knows that I'm still ready to go. You know, I can't have him walking away from this fight thinking that, you know, he made me quit. So I walked over and I stood in front of him, you know, and I wasn't going to throw any punches, obviously, but you know, his team ran over and the referee's trying to push me back. You know, I understood the fight was over, but I just wanted to look at him and let him know, hey, listen, I'm still here. I'm still ready to go. In my opinion, he didn't stop me. The referee stopped me. You know, and in a sense, we both got robbed there. He got robbed of, you know, the opportunity to finish me conclusively, and that could have happened, you know. And I got robbed of the opportunity to overcome that bad, you know, instance and to maybe come back and win the fight, you know. And that's what the fans really want to see. You know, they want the Castillo Corrales type fights. They want the Gatti Ward. They want that, you know, that fantasy of, you know, a fighter goes down, he gets hurt, but then he comes back and he you know, and there's a back and forth, and then the other guy gets hurt and then he comes back to win. You know, that's what that fight could have been. It could have been that. Or it could have been me just getting my ass kicked for the next few rounds, but we'll never know. But, you know, the fans should have been given the opportunity to see that. How's he going to react? How's he going to deal with taking more punishment? Or how's he going to deal with, you know, recovering and maybe getting the fight back? We'll never know. But, you know, as a prize fighter, as somebody who's getting paid millions to fight, each and every time I step into the ring, you know, I have a responsibility and an obligation to give it everything I've got. You know, I'm not looking for a way out. You know, I'm not like these other fighters like Billy Joe Saunders. You know, when the going gets tough, they're looking for a way out. I'm looking for a way in. I'm looking for a way to overcome. And I think that was taken away from me.
Who took it away from you, Chris?
The referee.
So if the referee let you go on, Roy was on the apron with a towel. You do know that, don't you?
Well, I didn't know. I can't control what Roy was doing.
But ask Ronnie or your team before you got up here. Roy was on the apron as well with the towel. So if the referee let you go on, Roy stopped it too.
Well, Roy didn't throw the towel in. Whether he was about to do it or not is a different matter. I still haven't actually had the conversation with Roy about that. I didn't see what happened. But I will be telling Roy from now on, don't ever bring a towel to any of my fights ever again. Don't even worry about my brow if there's sweat. Because, like I said, you know, as a man who's getting paid millions to fight each and every time he steps into the ring, I have a responsibility to take my beating if that's what is going to happen. You know, this referee, he actually refereed the same where I fought Nick Blackwell. And he let Nick take, you know, a hellacious beating over 10 or 11 rounds to where he ended up in a coma. And, you know...
Well, maybe he learned his lesson, Chris, because you was about to do the same. You couldn't...
Well, maybe I was. Maybe I was, and maybe I wasn't.
Maybe he learned his lesson. Maybe he saved you from that.
But the fact that, you know, a referee can let a man take the amount of punishment that Nick Blackwell took, and then on the flip side, you know, wave the fight off after a flash knockdown, it doesn't make sense to me. It's not fair, in my opinion. You know, and it wasn't just me that was robbed, it was the fans too. You know, a lot of people paid to see me get my ass kicked, and they were robbed of that. You know, they wanted to see me take more shots, and they didn't get to see that.
You got given your chance after the first knockdown, Chris. You couldn't walk. You walked 5 steps. You fell 5 steps forward, and he gave you the chance. It could have been stopped off the first knockdown, but you got given the chance you're asking for. You got given the respect because of your chin. Anybody else who stumbles 5 steps after being knocked down gets stopped on the spot. You ask anybody in this room, anybody else gets stopped on the spot. You got given the respect because you're a tough man previously and you've got a good chin. You got given that respect, which is why the fight went on after the first knockdown.
Okay.
You know yourself, anybody else who does that dance you done gets stopped on that spot.
Well, it wasn't a dance. I got up too quick because something like that's never happened to me before. And obviously it takes time for your body to resync. I was resyncing. Then you threw a few more shots, glancing blows. We both fell over. I get back up immediately, and I'm pushing forward, and the fight is stopped. When a fighter is really hurt and can't continue, he doesn't pop back up and demand that the fight continues. Like I said, I'm a grizzled veteran. I know what I can take and what I can't take, and I could have taken more punishment if that's what was going to happen, and I could have taken, all I needed was a few more stanzas to get my rhythm back, and I think I was back in the fight. Again, we'll never know, but the exciting thing now is that we get a chance to run it back and to see if it wasn't just a lucky shot, a lucky combination, a lucky elbow, whatever you want to call it. If you do it again, then my hat comes off to you. You are the better man, and there's no argument. But as of right now, I still believe I'm the better fighter, and I think that is. I don't think that's an unfair thing to say when you dominated the first 3 rounds, which I believe I did. So I think I'm going to go in there and I'm going to right that wrong. Obviously, you're going to do what you need to do to stop that, and that's what's going to make this fight so exciting.
Liam, I'll give you a chance to come back on a couple of those points there. You were closer than anybody else, barring the referee. You saw, with your own eyes into Chris's eyes. So I'll ask you the question, was it stopped too early? And on the second question, Chris just said there that he felt that he had dominated the first 3 rounds. Your opinion on that as well?
Yeah, look, obviously I let Chris have a say. You don't need to be a genius to see, he's fallen over everywhere. He got his chance after the first knockdown. He goes down again, gets up and falls straight into the referee. The referee stops the count as soon as he falls the second time round. You've got fighters commenting saying, it could have easily been stopped that first time. Everybody in this room has been round boxing a long time and no boxing. You got given his credit for his history, so to speak. He got given the chance to carry on after that first knockdown. Any other fighter gets stopped after that first knockdown. You can't fall forward 5 steps and let the referee, you got up too quick. That's your mistake. You should have been stopped. He gave you the chance. You went down again. You fell over again.
We fell over.
I fell over. I didn't. My bottom didn't touch no floor.
No, I'm saying the second time we both fell over. That's what.
We didn't. You fell. I didn't fall. I didn't hit the floor. I didn't fall.
Oh well. Maybe I watched.
You were falling. You tried to bring me with you, but the ropes caught me. You fell and then got up and then fell into Victor Loughlin, and he got stopped. Now, I understand you've got to come with some sort of roundabout way to make excuses because the fight's back on.
It's not an excuse, it's what happened. I got up and I wanted to keep going, and he denied me that.
You're going to want to keep going because you're a fighter, but you couldn't keep going, and everyone in this room will tell you couldn't keep going.
I mean, everyone in this room doesn't know what I go through on a daily basis for the last.
You said before the last fight you've never been buzzed. You've just admitted you've been buzzed there, Chris. So
of course I've been buzzed. You can't swim in the sea.
The gloves are off and said you've never so much as been buzzed.
You can't swim in the sea and not get wet. For me to say I've never been buzzed in my boxing career in
you said it.
Or in the ring,
gloves are off. It's all on camera, Chris. You said it. So
I've never been down. I've never been touched the canvas.
You have now, and I done it to you. You have now, and I done it to you.
And I give you that. I give you that. But to say that I wasn't able to continue after jumping back up and wanting to and telling the referee to let me keep going, I mean, it's not an excuse. Listen, you won the fight. Now it's up to me to prove what I'm saying is correct, that I am the better fighter, and that it was a once-in-a-lifetime thing, which it was, because that's never happened in my lifetime. I've never touched the canvas before. You did it. I give you the credit for that. And
Chris, what part of that fight did you dominate besides 30 seconds in the third round?
Well, I jabbed your head off for 2 rounds, and then I hit you with about 6 or 7 uppercuts in the third round. I was warming up. And then
what did I do, Chris?
Huh?
And then what did I do?
And then you want me to say it, don't you? You know what you did.
And what did I do?
You know exactly what you did. You know exactly what you did. And listen, I'm not mad at it. It's a fight. It was my fault. I should have, protect yourselves at all times. I didn't do that. I let you get in and do what you did, and fair play to you. I can't knock you for that. It's a fight. Our health is on the line. We're trying to feed our families here. Now you get another huge payday. You wouldn't have got that if I just gone there and blown you out. So absolutely, I get it. I get it. It's I'm happy for you, but make no mistake, this next fight here, I'm going to be a different animal. We're not giving you any chances this time.
What can you do different, Chris?
What's that?
What can you do different?
Oh, well, you guys are going to find out. I'm not going to give away my game plan. I got to keep you guys.
Got your game plan wrong last time, bro. You said.
Listen, my game plan was going swimmingly. You didn't land a shot. You had Matthew Macklin on the commentary box talking about, oh, what a great overhand right. Those were some great shots. And you look at the replay and you hit my glove. You didn't touch me until that 4th round. I was having fun. I was enjoying myself.
You're terrified, Chris. Can I ask you a question, a genuine question? Did you get knocked out in the build-up or anything?
Get knocked out in the build-up?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Did you get knocked out in sparring in the build-up?
No, I didn't get knocked out in sparring.
Okay, that was just a question.
What a strange inquiry that was.
Because of how petrified you was of getting hit. That's not you. You're not usually like that, but you're looking away, you're blinking, you're closing your eyes every time I got near you. You were terrified.
I mean, that is that's an absurd overstatement to say that I was petrified.
Not really, because the first shot that wobbled you were looking at the floor. So, I think.
I mean, did I not want to get hit? Absolutely. I'm a good-looking fellow. I want to keep these looks. So I was trying to avoid your punches as much as I could.
Getting a few laughs today. He's brought a few cheerleaders with him today.
And
today.
The issue with you is, I know, when push comes to shove, and I said it before, you like to play dirty, and I knew that coming into the fight. So I thought, you know what? Let me try and stay away from the possibility of possibly getting cut or some stupid injury happening, because I want to be active. I want to fight again in 3 or 4 months.
I didn't even need to be dirty, but Chris, you were fucking easy. I didn't. I usually get cut, and it was easy.
I had a mark.
Was that football the next day?
I had a big welt on my eye there.
What shot was that?
What shot was it? You tell me.
What shot was
I mean, I've never had a welt like that on my eye before. I don't know if it was a shot. It was something. I don't know what it was. But let me tell you.
How much are you paying him? How much is he getting paid, this fella here?
One thing I will say is that I have that ability. Some guys, they take those shots and they're down, or they wobble or whatever. I usually have that one flash and then I'm back. With what you did, it went dark for a split second. I've never had that before. It wasn't a white flash. It was a dark flash. So
better get used to it, mate, because it's going to happen again to you.
Well,
you're saying it without saying. If you don't mind me interjecting, you're saying it without saying it. Are you alleging that Liam did? There's plenty of talk about it online. Do you feel that he did land an elbow? Is that what?
There's no alleging. All you have to do is watch the replay. It was a beautiful shot. I got to give it to him. It was great. The way he just snuck it in the middle of his combination. My fault. Protect yourselves at all times. And I didn't do that, and I paid the price. But it's okay. I'm not going to pay it again.
Let's bring in these two gentlemen here with the watching brief at the moment. Try following some of that. Boxer CEO Ben Shalom, you can go first. Obviously, there was a rematch clause. We spent a hell of a lot of time talking about it in the build-up, and yet here we are. Did you think this fight was going to happen? How happy are you to be putting it on again? Will it be repeat or will it be revenge?
I mean, when the rematch clause was activated, I was certain it would happen, and it's taken a long time. We've had other fights that we could have taken, and we've sat and we've committed to this. I think it was probably the biggest night in the UK in boxing this year. It was an incredible night, and the rivalry was incredible. The way these two went at it was incredible, and it was everything that we expected. I think it's a bigger fight this time. I think the first fight, for some reason, felt like almost the Eubank show, and the way people overlooked Liam Smith's chances was incredible. I think this time people understand how good Liam Smith is. It's Smith-Eubank. Liam Smith's the A side. Eubank's the star, and it's a must-win for Chris. For Liam Smith, he wants to become a two-time world champion. For Chris Eubank Jr, I truly believe his career is on the line, and that's what makes this so big. We went on the sign-ups only half an hour ago, and it's trending as big as Khan Brook did. That's how much interest there's in this fight. That's credit to both guys. I think it's a rematch fans do want to see. I think it's something that we've never seen happen to Chris Eubank Jr. before. And yeah, it's amazing that it's finally here. But yeah, as I say, it has taken a while, but delighted to now be here.
Head of global boxing at Wasserman Boxing, Kalle Sauerland. You've sat and listened to all of that. You also heard Liam say that Chris perhaps didn't want the rematch to start with, and he's been forced into this position. I'll give you a chance to come back on that.
Absolute rubbish. How's it taken a long time? We've got the rematch, takes place within 5 months of the first fight. So how's that taken a long time? Junior got back to the dressing room, was very clear in the head, and the first thing he said to me, we're pulling that clause. I said, look, go away, spend some family time. We had some family downtime. I was in a plane and managed to have Wi-Fi Valentine's Day. Won't say where I was going, but I'm looking on Instagram and suddenly I see I've activated the rematch clause. He's his own man. Yes, he has a team. He has a big team, but he's a fighter, and he's a hurt fighter right now, and he's a dangerous fighter right now. So I have full respect what Liam's saying, full respect what Chris is saying, but I've worked with him for many years. I've never seen him in a space like this. Very clear, not a sense of desperation. He knows exactly what he needs to do. The kitchen sink, the bathtub, metaphorically, you name it, it's coming into that ring on June 17th in the Manchester Arena. It's not going to be like the first fight, which I think was tactical. You know, if you look at that third round, I think Junior showed what he'd been learning and doing. I don't know what their game plan is. I've got no idea, but I would assume it's going to be an absolute all-out war and onslaught, and that ultimately is what Junior does best. So I think when you look at it as a rematch, yeah, we can talk about some great rematches that have taken place at this weight or around this weight over many years and decades. Most recently, I'm thinking Kessler-Froch. But really, this has got a bit of a twist to it, doesn't it? Because there's no one in this room, and that includes my beloved Smith family. You can see them sitting over there. No one would have picked Liam Smith by knockout. Yes, Liam Smith by points. Can see the argumentation on that, but no one would have put smart money on that. And it was a shock. It was a shock. And Junior's reaction, by the way, to the knockdown, can say whatever anyone's opinion is, he'll know it best. He jumped up. Which, by the way, wasn't the cleverest of things to do in hindsight. He jumped up, didn't give himself the time, because he'd never had that experience before. It was a Formula One driver who crashed for the first time. And looking back at it, take the count, take the seconds, but he wanted to basically continue without going back to the corner. Does it change from there? Only God knows, you know. But do we want to see the rematch? Absolutely. Absolutely. Adds that spice to it. And as I said, I think we're going to see a very different fight. I think from both guys. I don't think Liam's going to come with the same plan either. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting spectacle in the Manchester Arena on Sky Box Office June 17.
I'll give the final few statements to both fighters. Chris, you really did play the game with the gloves are off and all the promotional stuff.
I don't play. Everything I do is legit. It's real. Not an act. I don't play. I keep hearing this. You play a great game. This isn't a game. This is my life.
Was he better than you thought?
Was he better than I thought? No, I wouldn't say that. Did I underestimate him? Maybe you could say that. But you know, that's the great thing about boxing. That's what makes the sport so sexy, is that anything can happen. I said it in the build-up. You know, when he was asking about why you have a rematch clause, because anything can happen, and anything did happen. And now we have to make it right.
Will you give a final prediction?
No.
Liam, anything can happen. Will the same thing happen twice?
Yeah, I fully believe it will. Like I said before, I knew I was a better fighter than Chris. The big part of it was I big enough at 160? Never mind big enough at 160 now, and I can hit him quite handy at 160. So, you know, I'm massively confident, even more confident in this fight now.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, everybody. There'll be one-on-one opportunities at the conclusion. We'll bring everybody together for teams and a face-off. And like we said before, if everyone at the front can just stay in your seats so everyone at the back can get a clean shot. But that concludes our second press conference. Thank you to everybody for coming.
Good.
What do you make of that then, Johnny?
What else could be said or done? Just got to get on with it. Chris was being Chris. As analytical as possible, just spoke facts as far as he could do. But what else could he say? Probably for Liam, I think Liam just had a smirk on his face to say, "You're not fooling me. You might be able to fool these." Like he just wasn't having it, point blank.
Barry, is that kind of what you expected to happen today? Chris Eubank being Chris Eubank, pretty much.
Pretty much, but I just think some of the things that he said were quite bizarre. You know, I understand. You know, as a fighter, you want to be given every opportunity to see the fight out and to ride the storm, and maybe you get to the other side. But he must have seen the fight back, and you can't reinvent history. He was stumbling all over the place, and he knows himself. He knows that the condition he was in. He takes another shot, and he's done for the night. He's done for the night. So. No, if your faculties are still with you, you take a knee. If you really want to win the fight, you take a knee and give your body a chance to recover a little bit longer. But when you see fighters stumble forward and they jump too quick, all those things.
Do you think he was saying it for effect, though, Johnny, or do you think he genuinely believes that he should have been allowed to carry on?
I think common sense would tell you that if you're hitting her, that's what you would do. But because it had never happened to him before, he did. It's a human reaction. He's like, I'm up, I'm okay here. Whereas common sense, you can't. You think, take the 8 count and get back on with it. That's an experience. And that's how you have to learn the hard way.
Good to see you, Chris. How was that for you?
Listen, you know me. I'm always calm. I'm always chilled out. You know, I have a new found drive. That's for sure. I haven't. This is the first time in my career that I've ever had a rematch. Thinking about it.
How does that feel?
I like it. I like the challenge. You know, fighting a man twice and having to prove the things I've said. You know, I know I'm a better fighter, but it's just not enough to say it. I have to go out there and show it. And there's a lot of people that don't think that now after the last fight. So it's a whole new thing. It's uncharted territory, and I'm excited.
How much did the loss hurt you in hindsight? Now you've had sort of a few months to reflect on it.
Hurt is not the right word. I wasn't hurt. You know, I didn't lose sleep. I wasn't crying my eyes out. It was more of annoyance, of disappointment, knowing that I should have won that fight, knowing that I shouldn't have given him an opportunity to do what he did.
Why was that? In your mind, why do you think that happened?
Listen, you know, if you fight for long enough, eventually something's going to happen. Something's going to go wrong. Like I said up there, unless you're Floyd Mayweather, it's not perfect. Sometimes it's just not going to go your way. Things are going to happen, and you've either got to overcome it, or you're going to take your beating. The fight was stopped, so I didn't really get a chance to do either of those things. But now I have an opportunity to right that wrong, and I have to do that.
Did Roy? What was his take on it afterwards?
What was his take on it?
Did he think it was a mistake? Did he think it was, as you say, it was one of those things? You've got to get wet. How did Roy look at it?
Yeah, I mean, we always knew that. We always knew that we had all the bases covered. We had the game plans covered. We knew what I was going to do. And I felt like I was in control of the fight. I felt like everything was, I was warming up nicely. You guys saw the third round. I was getting ready to start unleashing. And then, what happened, and it's just one of them things. You can't control stuff like that. It doesn't matter how much you practice and how much you plan and how much you strategize. Sometimes it's just not your time.
But you can't control putting yourself under the ropes. Do you feel that maybe you have to push Liam back a little bit more this time?
Maybe, and maybe not. He didn't land a shot really until that fourth round, so I'm not going to say that my game plan or my strategy was wrong. Did I give him the opportunity to land those shots by being on the ropes? Yes, but sometimes you just end up on the ropes, and I've fought off the ropes for years and never had any issues. But like I said, if you put yourself in those situations for long enough, eventually something's going to happen. So
is that a lesson learned from that situation? Because obviously, until it goes wrong, it's never a lesson learned.
Of course, it's a lesson learned. That's never happened to me before, where I've had to take a standing 8 count. Of course, I learned a lot from that. I know now that I can be, I can be hurt like that, or I can be buzzed to that level. I'm not going to say I was hurt. I was right back up, but I was buzzed for sure. I had to shake it off. That's never happened to me in a professional fight. So yeah, you learn.
Chris, can I ask you? Do you think? I spoke to Carl Froch before. I spoke to George Groves before. They said you've got a granite chin. There's no way anybody ever imagined that happening. Do you think the weight may have made a difference to that happen to you? Because you said it's never happened to you before. So do you think having to get down to the weight was the effect of getting hit with shots that man like Froch and Groves can't touch you, can't hurt you with?
You know, I'm not gonna make excuses. I'm not gonna I was weight drained, so my punch resistance was down. I'm not gonna do that. You know, I lost the fight, but naturally, as you get older, yes, it's harder to cut weight. I came in a pound under after doing a certain type of weight cut that I've never done before. Again, not an excuse. You know, I made the decision to do that. But you know, I don't think that even if I was whatever weight I wanted to be, you know, when you're taking shots like that, you're gonna get buzzed, regardless of whether your weight's good or not. So you know, it is what it is.
A couple of quick questions before we have to you have to go on to your other interviews. What are you going to do differently in this fight? How is your approach going to be different to the last one?
How is my approach going to be different?
I'm guessing you won't be doing that weight cut again.
I have to.
With the way you did it last time.
Oh yes, no, yeah. I'm going to go back to the old way of cutting weight. That's for sure. And in terms of my mindset, I guess I have a new desire, a new fire burning inside of me that maybe I didn't have before, because you know, I didn't fear him, and I don't fear him now. But I know now that, you know, I can be hurt or I can be buzzed like that. So now I have to, you know, I have to respect what's coming at me. You know, so yeah, it's going to be a lot more serious for me preparing for this fight, and when I enter the ring.
Is that also because you are aware perhaps of what is on the line in terms of your career as well in this fight?
Absolutely. You know, I can say that it wasn't my night, you know, it was a lucky shot, and you know, I can say all that for one loss. If he does that again, there's nothing I can say. I have to sit there and say he's a better fighter than me, and I can't live with that. So yeah, I'm a man on a mission.
Right, we're looking forward to seeing it. I'm not going to ask you for prediction because I think Andy tried it there and it was a firm no.
Yeah, it's boring. Oh, I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to stop him. I'm going to beat him within.
I think people are intrigued. They want to know what you're going to do.
Yeah, listen. I'm gonna go in there and I'm going to avenge the loss. I'm going to show. You know, I'm going to show what true champions are made of, and that's, you know, going through adversity, dealing with the defeat, and coming back stronger, which a lot of guys can't do. That's what I'm going to do.
Good to see you, Chris. Hope camp goes well for you.
Thank you.
Brilliant. We'll catch up with you very soon.
All right, guys. See you later.
Good to see you. I believe Chris is going out. Hopefully Liam is going to join us. Waiting in the wings. Good to see you, Liam. How you doing?
Okay. Is this me or am I holding it or are you holding it? Okay.
You feeling good after that?
Yeah, I am. I'm feeling good now. I've got a fight date, whether it was Chris or anybody else. I'm feeling good now, but after the press conference with Chris, feeling a little bit more better and a little bit more excited.
What do you make of what Chris was saying up there? I mean, you kind of get the impression that he doesn't feel it should have been stopped, he should have carried on.
Oh, look, it's laughable. He made light of the stoppage, really.
Do you think he's just trying to make excuses?
Yeah, of course. You know, that was kind of a fun press conference. Chris brought a few people that laughed at everything he said, but he can only convince him and his team that fight shouldn't have been stopped. You got given the benefit of the doubt because you've got a good chin from the first knockdown. You know, ex-fighters, you know, that could have easily been stopped after the first knockdown and there would have been no arguments, but you know, we got given the benefit of the doubt, fell over again, stumbled into the referee again, and he's blaming the referee for robbing him, but Roy Jones was also on the apron throwing a towel in, so you know, which one was it? But I think that's just Chris being Chris. He's making light of it because he has to now, because we're going again.
Do you feel even more determined to put on even more of a show, stop him even more emphatic fashion?
Not really. I'm just more determined to beat him now and
make him say what he said he'll say next time round. You know, he nearly said it towards the end of the first fight. He went to say the better man won, but couldn't really bring himself to say it. I feel I'll make him say it next time round, because it'll be the same result, and whether I do it quicker than I done it last time is yet to be seen. But I know I can hit Chris now, and I know I can hit in the head, and I know I can hit in the body too.
What do you anticipate that he might try and do differently this time around?
We're yet to see, because what can he do differently? He can come and have a fight with me, but again, I'll be openly honest with you and say I don't know why. I think he's finished. He was never really. He was terrified of getting hit, and I tried to say it up there, but again, he made light of it and got a few laughs, so it got squashed. But my point being is, Chris Eubank is always can have a fight in his game. From the minute in the first round when we held, I thought, you are terrified of getting hit, and I'm going to nail you in a minute and see your reaction. And when I did, it was kind of over. And what I mean by that is, it was just so. It's cliche in fighters. We don't mind getting hit, and you'll get it to think like, "Oh, I'm okay with that," or "Wow, I can't take too many of them." He was terrified, pulling his head out the way, looking at the floor, just closing his eyes, and it was more just getting his head out the way. And he's saying he tried to make light of it because I'm dirty. He was getting his head out the way, but no. Well, my point was proven, because I thought in round one, you're terrified of getting hit here, and that's why I asked him if it come out now. He got knocked out in sparring 3 weeks before I boxed him. I wouldn't be surprised. That's why I asked that question.
When you asked the question,
that was a genuine question.
No, it was a genuine question, because if that come out now, I think that was why. He was like, not gun shy, but he was just terrified of getting hit. And when I sparred him, he went like that. He's known as a fighter. He's known as being game. His best asset is that.
Have you felt frustration? Because even though you won, and especially the fashion you won, a sense of frustration that you're thinking, why am I waiting for this guy to come to me?
That was me big frustration, because he activated the rematch clause, but I still had to wait. If that makes sense, like.
And you were begging him.
And I knew I knew through the grapevine. We all knew through Eddie Hearn, he was still trying to make the Conor Ben fight, but I'm still sitting there, signed and obliged.
So
to
you're
take
his
this
only
rematch.
option. You're not another option. Now you're on his only option.
Yeah, now I'm the only option, and like I said, but. At the time, the frustrating part with me was I had to sit and wait. You know, I got nominated and ordered to fight for the WBO world title, but I was signed into the rematch clause. So that was the frustrating part on my behalf. But I've got the date now. I've got the date I wanted, so I'm happy now.
What do you think is going to be different for you in this rematch compared to the first? Because there's a lot of talk in the first time about sort of careers, where you're going to go. You know, you had aspirations. You still have aspirations to become a two-weight world champion. Do you feel like the pressure's slightly off you going into this rematch, or is it no different?
It's no different for me. You know, I'll train away from a Chris Eubank Jr. with my own team, and I'll train to the best Liam Smith I can be. That's preparing for the best Chris Eubank Jr. Chris is the one who's got to change. You know, I was asked what sparring am I going to get in. I'll probably get the same sparring partners I did for last time, because you know it's not broke, so I don't need to fix nothing. I won, and Chris has got to change. Chris can't come and box me the way he fought time, because it doesn't work. He makes too many mistakes, so it's down to Chris. Chris has got to change. Chris is just being stopped. Chris is just being dropped.
What about mentality? Because you know, when we sat down and we did Off Limits last week, and we spoke about how out of all the brothers you're probably seen as the angry one, and how much you feed off that and almost want that when you go into a fight. What's going to happen with the dynamic between you and Chris this time around? Are you still going to have that? Do you need that, or are you kind of going to keep your emotions more in check?
I don't think we need that now, because we've had a fight. We've got a fight to go off. You know, like that ends up a bit of a fun press conference, all people laughing, and it was just more like he can only convince him and his own team. You're not going to convince me, and you're not going to get me biting to like you messing. I did stop you. Like if you want to, you need to believe that, because you've got to go away and you've got to train. But like I said before, he's the one who goes to bed at night on his own, and he's the one who knows. The last person in the ring with him was me, who did drop him, who did stop him, who did buzz him, and it's a big thing he's got to overcome, because the first time it's happened in his career.
Are you looking beyond this fight?
No.
Have you got a plan? No, you're very much focused on them.
Yeah, look, again, I'll fully concentrate on Chris Eubank Jr. because I know Chris Eubank Jr. is a handful when he turns up and has a fight with you. I said this before the last fight. I fully respect him as a fighter, and I fully give him his credit. He's a tough night for anybody, but again, if I train and be 100% Liam Smith, I beat him.
I said to Chris, and I'm saying to you, before the fight, Carl Froch, George Groves saying this guy's chin's like granite. I asked Chris, does he think the weight made him react the way he did when you hit him on the chin? After these guys are saying he can take a shot.
Yeah.
Do you think do you think he shouldn't have come down to the weight, or do you think? And it's not taking no credit away from you because you did a great job.
Yeah. Again, I think I can sit here and watch the fight with you now, and the first right hand that stiffens him, I think it's because he's looking at the floor.
Okay.
He doesn't see the shot coming. He's looking at the floor. It reiterates what I was saying to him about he was so scared of getting up. He was like pulling away and pulling down, and the first right hand before the uppercut, he's looking at the floor. I don't think he sees it, and it wobbles him to his boots, and then I lands the left uppercut, miss with the right hand, and then the left hook drops him. And I fully believe it was because he was looking at the floor. Also, you're telling me George Groves and Carl Frost can't do that if they hit him.
That's what I'm saying. These guys are saying to me.
I just think if they hit you right, you're going, and that's it. Nobody has had the best chin probably in world boxing, but look, nobody can not be hurt, and I just think that was the best case. What I said to him at the press conference, I think he was looking at the floor when the first right hand landed, and then the next two follow-up shots just put him over.
Chris is sort of saying that he almost thinks that loss has given him a fire in his belly, and that he's relishing it almost going into this fight. How much do you think that loss has hurt him?
Massively, because Chris's whole career is based on like ego, pride. That's why I think it's big, because he bases his whole career on he prides himself on being invincible, granite chin, which also helps him compete at a high level. He's never been found wanting because of his fitness or his chin or his durability. He's always been found wanting because of his ability. Now the other part of his game's just being tested and cracked. So that will be a big. It's going to be it's a big camp for Chris to come out, overcome that, and like I say I'll just concentrate on myself, and again I'm confident I can do it again to him.
The atmosphere last time around in the Manchester Arena was electric. I mean, it always is. We've had some brilliant nights at the Manchester Arena. What are you expecting come June the 17th? Because it's a cracking card as well. Savannah Marshall, Franchón as well on there.
It is, yeah, and I'm expecting the same type of atmosphere, the same outcome, but most importantly the same result in the Liam Smith win.
Okay. Pretty definitive there from Liam. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Good to see you.
Thanks, Anne.
See you.
I'll take that.
What are you making after speaking to both fighters there, Johnny?
You can always say what we've seen. Chris and Liam knows whatever Chris has said, whatever Chris has done. You know, it doesn't matter what he said or done. He's not going to get wound up like he did the last time, because he knows now. He knows we all know now. So he just had to go through the motions, getting on the fight. The one that's got to try and convince us, himself or anybody else, is Chris. And you see that.
If I had to push you now and say who would your money be on this time around?
I wouldn't even doubt for a second. I changed by the Wednesday of the fight. I said Liam, then changed to Chris.
Do you think it's going to be one of those again in this one?
No. I think this fight doesn't go past the midway rounds. I really do. I think it's the same result, but a different round.
It's a really intriguing fight, and like Andy said at the top there, the press conference, there are a lot of questions that the people hopefully will get the definitive answers to come June the 17th. And of course we have the cracking fight as well between Savannah Marshall and Franchón's Crews-Dezurn as well. That one,
great fight.
Yeah, I mean that one potentially could even steal the show.
Yeah, of course it will, and that's why I think, again, what a night, 17th of June at the Air Arena in Manchester. I actually think Manchester once again is going to be absolutely buzzing.
Fight week's going to be brilliant.
Oh my, I love Manchester for that. You can't be anywhere.
Yeah, well, that's it from us today. We're going to leave it there, but what a night we have to look forward to. June the 17th.